In this video, let's score some sourdough loaves together. Take your dough out of the fridge and flip it out onto a piece of parchment paper. I like to score my dough on top of a turntable if I'm doing more intricate designs. Once you have your dough flipped out, spray it with a bit of water and then sprinkle on additional rice flour if desired. I like to smooth the rice flour in very gently with my hand. Then use butcher's twine or any kind of string and mark out a square on the top of your dough. This is where we'll eventually score our deep expansion scores. If you don't like where you placed your lines, you can just smooth out the flour and mark again. Always score your smaller, more detailed decorative scoring first. I started with 3 simple wheat stalks inside of the square, but set on a diagonal. For these scores, I cut very lightly into the dough as I don't want too much expansion at these cuts. For the stems of the wheat stalks, barely scratch the surface of the dough with your blade. I then added a wheat stalk pattern all the way around the bottom of the loaf. Once all of your detailed scoring is done, score a deep cut along each side of the square that we marked out initially. Then place your loaf into a Dutch oven with the lid on and bake at 450 degrees for about 7 minutes. After 7 minutes, take the Dutch oven out of the oven, take off the lid, and rescore the deep expansion scores only. This will allow the dough to continue to rise at these expansion points. Then place the lid back onto your Dutch oven and continue to bake for about an additional 15 minutes with the lid on. Then remove the lid of the Dutch oven and continue to bake with the lid off for an additional 10 to 20 minutes until the desired color is achieved. Now let's score a batard loaf. I plan to do my deep expansion score off center, so I started by adding 3 tall wheat stalks about 2/3 of the way up the dough. Then I added 2 shorter wheat stalks in between. Finally, cut the scalloped edge deep expansion score. You can draw this out into the flour on your dough with a toothpick or with your finger before scoring, like we did with the previous loaf. This score should be much deeper than the wheat stalks. You can go back over this score and deepen it more if needed after you first make it. Then follow the same baking instructions as the previous loaf, taking the loaf out of the oven after baking for about 7 minutes and rescoring just the scalloped edge expansion scores. The 7-minute score is not necessary, but it's great if you have an area on your loaf that you want to expand and lift off of the loaf more. It's a great trick to get a larger ear on your loaf as well. If you found this video helpful, please hit the thumbs up to let me know. Thanks so much for watching.